Soviet Regimental Main Command Post. The time, the beginning of the Soviet offensive. The objective, before this day is over, cross the river and destroy the defending forces on the other side, utilizing a Soviet regiment of motorized riflemen supported by tanks, artillery, and air mobile assets. And once across, to drive 20 kilometers ahead, further if possible. The men, part of the Soviet motorized rifle company, are to be heli-lifted behind U.S. lines to help the regiment accomplish its mission. The soldier, Lev Repin, a junior lieutenant, the company's political officer and historian, makes the most of his break after taking part in the final rehearsal of the planned assault on the USCP. Along with the others, he awaits the arrival of the helicopters that will fly them behind U.S. lines.
Soon we will be loaded aboard 5 HIP helicopters and escorted by 4 Hind assault helicopters. Our only specialized training for air mobile operations, 5 hours of training during the past year in loading and unloading from helicopters, plus 2 hours of rehearsal for the specific mission. Only time will tell how successful we will be.
This is the Tactical Operations Center for the 1st Battalion, one of 3 battalions in the brigade whose mission is to delay advancing Soviet forces and prevent their crossing the river.
Bravo 3003. Inform brigade that we've got Soviet forces approaching the Far River bank. Also that we've got 3 BMPs and 2 T-72s at coordinates Alpha Tango 367442.
Yes, sir.
You are now in the U.S. Brigade Main Command Post. The men here collect, evaluate, and plot reports from the task forces under their control.
Alpha Tango 367 442. We destroyed 1 tank, 1 BMP. Remaining vehicles fled east into trees. Out.
The Brigade Forward Command Post is close to the task forces defending the river line. Here, the brigade commander directs the actions of his command.
Contact during the night. How about bringing me up to date on the situation?
So the situation hasn't changed. It's remained basically the same.
Sir, can I get you help for a minute?
Yeah, what you got?
When we start this operation tomorrow, Carl.
In the next 10 minutes, this active command and control center will be reduced to rubble. None of the people you see will survive. All will become casualties, victims of a planned Soviet air mobile assault in support of their overall river crossing operation.
Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 3-4. 3 Soviet BMPs have entered the river, coordinates Alpha Tango 364-146. We are taking them under fire. We'll keep you advised.
Bravo 3-4, this is Kilo 3-4.
Roger. Be advised that Whiskey 29er reported tanks and BMPs in vicinity. Grid Alpha Tango 355-425.
Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 3-4. Roger, out.
Major Clements, sir.
45, ready?
Tanks and BMPs.
Watch carefully. What you are about to see take place could compromise U.S. troops defending the river and make it difficult for them to stop the Soviets from successfully crossing the river. See that it doesn't happen to you. The following will give you an insight into how the Soviets fight, how they might employ their helicopters to support their ground offensives.
The shelling has increased. They're shifting their fire from the river line to 100 meters behind it.
Sir, I'm sure glad we're not up there where it's hot. Major Clements, sir. 2nd Brigade on our north just reported a flight of Soviet helicopters has been observed in their sector heading southwest.
Bill, I think you better alert all the Stinger teams and advise all the commands and reinforce the brigade main CP.
Notify the Stinger teams to be on the alert and tell the task forces to watch for enemy helicopters. Order the reserve to defend the CP.
Yes, sir.
Just 2 days ago, the Soviets used choppers to knock out a Task Force CP and Lance installation.
Sir, brigade commander.
Major Clemens, sir. Helicopters have been observed on our right. They appear to be heading in this direction. We've alerted the Stinger teams.
You better alert the reserve platoon. You may need them at your location on the double.
I've given them the word. They're on their way. Right, sir.
And there's reason to be concerned, as this S-2 knows from hours of instruction about Soviet air mobile operations at the intelligence school. This man, the S-2 in this brigade CP, in the sector where the main thrust of the Soviet advance will take place, will learn the hard way. Soviet tactical planners, analyzing the experiences of the 1973 Mideast War and Vietnam, have concluded that U.S. forces have the capability to check their armored offense, primarily with anti-tank guided missiles. The Soviet tank forces could be hindered unless the Red Army can degrade U.S. defenses in some way. The helicopter offers them that capability. To ensure success in future offensive operations, the Soviet armed forces will use the helicopter to neutralize U.S. artillery, anti-tank systems, and tanks before bringing their Soviet tanks into battle.
Roger, out. We're taking heavy casualties at the river line, sir.
The Soviets feel that they can launch a tactical air mobile operation in a matter of hours. Prior to commencing operations, they increase reconnaissance of their objective. With real-time reconnaissance, they can determine the size of the assault force they'll need to transport by helicopter. The Soviets will always attempt to outnumber opposing forces. This Soviet offensive has as its objective the securing of a bridgehead and movement of 20 kilometers or further. To do it, the regiment is supported by an air mobile operation. Helicopters allow the Soviet commander to move troops over natural and man-made obstacles, allowing rapid movement to seize key objectives. The helicopters can be used again on other missions as requested. Air mobility utilizing the Hip, Hind, and Hook helicopters give the Soviets a means of quickly penetrating behind U.S. positions. It can assist the Soviets in destroying any military defense that may impede their advance and delay the enemy from moving reinforcements to the forward edge of the battle area. The motorized riflemen used on this helicopter assault will join up with ground forces advancing in the main ground offensive. Soviet military leaders believe unless sufficient Soviet tactical air and artillery can suppress our air defenses, their helicopter operations will not be successful.
Hey, brigade.
Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo.
We are on the last leg of our journey. Everyone seems ready. Although we are motorized riflemen with little airborne training, our division commander feels we will have no difficulty destroying the enemy command post. We are told we will outnumber U.S. troops at the CP 4-1.
The Soviets plan to cross the river in 4 areas. So far, preparations for the Soviet crossing have gone according to plan.
Yes, sir, I just got this report. Okay, get that,
The river line on the U.S. side is being systematically softened by heavy artillery fire. Their 9 helicopters, 4 Hinds, and 5 Hips, transporting motorized riflemen, are already deep behind enemy lines and are minutes from their objective, the American Brigade Main Command Post. The helicopter pilot's instructions are to land near the brigade main, discharge the motorized riflemen, and return to their base at once to wait for further instructions. Soviet artillery continues to pound the U.S. side of the river.
This is 4-4.
Bravo 4-4, this is Kilo 9-1. We need a sit rep.
This is Bravo 4-4. They've really stepped up their artillery fire. We're having a hard time seeing the river because of the smoke and dust. Roger. Out.
sir, 2 more reports. More Soviet vehicles in the water and the Reds are shifting their artillery fire off the riverbank.
You know what that means.
Sir, it's Task Force CO.
291, this is Bravo 4-4. Request permission to move to battle position 1-5.
This is Kilo 9-1, negative. Authentication is Alpha Bravo.
We are about to land by the American CP. Behind assault helicopters escorting our hips carrying us are now firing on air and ground defenses in and around the landing area. All of the helicopters carrying us cannot land simultaneously and must land in relays. Immediately after offloading, we have been trained to lie flat on the ground for several seconds so the helicopters taking off will pass over us. Now what we have rehearsed only a short time ago becomes the real thing. So far, so good. We have landed as planned right next to the U.S. command post.
Sir, another report.
Air Defense reports that a Stinger team has shot down 2 Soviet assault helicopters. The next 4 minutes will tell if the helicopter assault will succeed and whether or not the Soviets will accomplish their objectives. Their timetable is synchronized to swim the river at the same time the U.S. Brigade Main CP is attacked. The Soviets hope by knocking out the Brigade Main CP, they will cause the destruction of normal communication links between it and the forward CP, as well as with the battalion task force at the river line. So the Soviets hope the destruction of the Brigade Main will also break down morale of U.S. troops trapped in the area between the river offensive and the motorized riflemen raiding behind the battalion positions. The Soviets also hope destruction of the Brigade Main CP will degrade U.S. Task Force command and control long enough to allow the Soviets to cross the river quickly without coordinated opposition.
Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 4-4, go. Sit right. Company size elements crossing the river in 3 places. Grids Alpha Tango 366424.
We're under attack! Soviet helicopters are shooting up the area! We gotta get out of here! Dart, call the CO at the brigade forward CP. Kilo. What happened to the sir? We have Great, sir! Great. Sergeant Lewis! Destroy the codes of the CEOIs. Gordon, call division and the task forces. Let them know the situation. The rest of you men, grab your rifles. Let's do it!
Say again, the enemy is crossing in 4 areas with at least 2 battalions. There's bridging equipment on the other bank. We are engaging. Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 4-4, go. Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 4-4, go. Do you read me? Colonel, I think they're hit. Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 4-4, go. Do you read me?
Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 4-4 Golf. Do you read me? Kilo 3-4, this is Bravo 4.
The time elapsed from the moment the helicopters touched down until the Soviet riflemen destroyed the Brigade Main CP, exactly 4 minutes.
It happened just exactly as the enemy had planned. They destroyed the command post and severed communication between it and the battalion task force. This severely degraded brigade command and control. And in addition, the presence of Soviet troops in their rear area lessened the capabilities of the battalion defending the river. The Soviets correctly believe their helicopters can assist them in maintaining the tempo of their ground offensives. And helicopters are an integral part of the Soviet combined arms doctrine. The Soviets know only too well that in any military engagement, any number of factors can keep victory from them. Bad luck, poor coordination, the inability to maintain communication and command and control, to name a few. Remember, the Soviets have a keen appreciation for the effectiveness of U.S. Army equipment. Your understanding of how the Soviets use their helicopters should help you better combat their use of air mobile operations, now and in the future. See that this never happens to you.